Um, well, before we came to you, we were a lot of our problem was our communication with each other. We didn't understand where the other side was coming from. Everyone has their own backgrounds, their own upbringings, their own interpretations of things,
Yeah.
and we really just didn't understand each other for the most part. Um, both kind of set in our ways, both had our identities and stuff going on. Um, and it was things that we thought we could figure out, or I thought, she thought, however we wanted to work it out. And turns out that wasn't the case. And we finally got to the point where um, we found you, and you basically became an interpreter for us.
Cool.
I was able to understand more about, what she was saying in a way that I could understand it, and vice versa. And every time we left one of your sessions, that's basically we would talk about it too. Like, I never thought about it that way. Having explained a different way was extremely helpful to us. And then the hypnotherapy side of it was one just really relaxing for one. um,
Right.
the whole white light healing thing just instantly body relaxed, felt so great. But then just it being able to absorb the information you were giving us at that time.
Yeah.
Um, and the one thing I like, because I was going to therapy before we found you, and the one thing you did that I love, I mean, granted that's the only experience I have with it. As we would talk in the first like hour before the hypno session, you were writing everything down,
Yeah.
and all that would come back up during the 15 minutes of being under, or however you want to say it. And I really thought that was just really cool.
My version, we all have different views in life. We have been going through a fundamental issue which had gone ignored and avoided for about 5 years
Right.
before the children moving out of the house took away all the distractions from dealing with that issue. And then when the kids moved out because they grew up, there was no longer any intervention between us needing to deal with this problem, even though it had caused conflicts and arguments before. It was within 3 weeks after the kids moved out and we were empty nesters finally that we separated for about 10 days.
Yeah.
It was about 10 days when we decided last ditch, we're going to get some professional help. We looked around.
Yeah.
But what I found to be particularly inviting of your service is that you don't discriminate. Your clients are all welcome, all walks of life. I happen to be currently, not for much longer, but currently a sex worker in Las Vegas. And that comes with its own unique set of marital issues that need to be navigated. I know that you see several transgender friends of mine. But my interest was that you know how to make people of all walks of life comfortable with themselves. And that made me not feel embarrassed to describe whatever shortcomings were coming between us to you so we could get the help we needed.
Yeah.
I found it very comforting that the things I couldn't understand, the things that were making me very angry, just needed to be translated.
Yeah.
The anger management, navigation, tension navigation was really, really helpful. But what I found most helpful was you helping me to understand what he was talking about. It's like a foreign language. Like I'm from a different part of the country. I'm a little bit older than he is, not by much, hey. But I'm from a different part of the country, from a different family structure, different upbringing, and the way that I navigate my world is very different than how he, goes through his day. And even though we consider ourselves both to be very good people with good hearts, when it comes to conflict resolution, we have different styles of handling things. And you were monumental in not only helping us to understand each other, but to resolve that fundamental crack that has been in the foundation of our marriage that actually had us separated. We were within, what, an hour? But maybe an hour or 2 hours from him moving halfway across the country.
Yeah.
And we managed to just like pull a stick out of the mud, like it was Whew, it was a miracle. Really miss coming in. I mean, even though our issue has been so lovingly resolved, we miss coming in because it was such a fun time for us. We never felt attacked
Yeah.
by the work that we were doing in your office. We always left every time since the very first visit. We always left feeling uplifted and hopeful, even though we were dealing with a devastating conflict that had actually driven us to be physically separated,
Right.
pending, a divorce procedure.
Right.
We were actually at that point where he had moved out and
Yep.
he was ready to leave the state.
Yeah.
But the very first visit, even on the phone call, the consultation, like we felt super comfortable. We didn't feel any embarrassment about our issues. And we were able to walk into your office for the first time and leave with hope that we were going to be okay.
Yeah.
I recommend my friends to you especially when I don't think anyone else will get a message across, or if they've been trying other therapy, that's just, it's not doing anything. And I'm like, you need to go see Kelly. You got to go see Kelly. He'll get you'll fall in love with the guy right away. You'll feel like you're at a party, at a cocktail party, having a conversation. Like it's just that easy to be in the office where we were sitting and we're sorry, we were talking about really difficult issues that are very embarrassing for most people.
Yes.
And we don't have any problems discussing them.
Yeah.
Very welcoming environment, very comfortable. I was telling people at my job, not even necessarily relationship issues, but I'm like, just the hypnotherapy side of it alone is amazing.
I know that a lot of men that I have talked to who are married to other, to women or men or whatever they, choose in life, but I know a lot of married men avoid therapy because they think it's a place where they're going to be attacked for being honest. And where the wife is merely going to be reinforced in whatever's driving them apart, so he doesn't have to look like an asshole for picking on a woman.
Yep.
I know a lot of guys that avoid therapy for that reason, and you didn't make my husband feel that way at all. A lot of things that tend to trigger people when they are faced with difficult information about themselves is admitting to themselves, not just to the room they're hearing it from, that they were wrong doing something. And what my experience was when I learned that I was doing something hurtful and damaging to my marriage, as well as my husband, we've talked about this. It's not easy to hear. A person doesn't like to hear that they're screwing up, let alone somebody they love, somebody they promise to take care of in life.
Yes.
And I had a hard time that one day. I was in tears. I couldn't believe, like, I felt like the world's most terrible person. I didn't feel attacked though, but I can see how some people, if they live a life blaming someone else for everything that they do wrong, they don't want to point the finger at themselves because it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts, but you really helped us to get through that part of our healing, was helping us transition through that revolution that we had with ourselves. We're forever grateful to you, forever grateful to you. You and your guidance, your mentorship, your translations have literally saved our marriage, saved our future together. And we will always recommend you to people who are having the worst kind of personal conflicts. We believe in what you do. You were critical during our crisis. We made it through the crisis. We survived the crisis we were having when you contacted us. And through the next 2 weeks, we transformed our crisis into an urgent need. And after a couple more weeks, we downgraded the urgent need into a doable situation. And after that, it just became a matter of standing on our own 2 feet after we had gotten the help that we needed. And we're confident now. We live every day. We're happy so much for everything.
Absolutely.
We will definitely tell all of our friends and family, especially anybody who's in crisis. You're the one to talk to.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And